My name is Ron Ekker, and this is Basketball Talk Pro. I want to remind you again, 2 more days until the discount is off for the statistics course measuring basketball performance. You've still got time, and it's a good price. Someday, if you stay in coaching, you'll be taking something else in that area that'll cost you a lot more money. And this is a good time to grab this course, because I don't think there is any course available to coaches in basketball other than this course. Well, today's subject is one that all of us anguish over, and probably even though we think we've got all kinds of answers to it, it generally ends up you don't have a whole lot of answers. And that is game situations. The situations that come up in a game, you know, and they're not only at the end of the game, they're during the game, end of quarters, you know, different situations all the time. I think you should know your percentages, and you will learn that by carefully doing film work and statistics, so that you have in front of you the percentages in different areas and different situations. Though the problem with that is there's very few situations that are the same. I don't think there are any that are the same. You know, I don't think even from one possession to another it's never the same. So you're constantly faced with the unknown, even though you plan well, and you should plan well, because those plans, even though they may not work perfectly, they do give you a direction, and they do give the players a direction. So I think that it's more in knowing what normally would happen and what would give you the best chance. And don't go by what everybody says. For example, excuse me, everybody says that the first 3 minutes of the second half are the most important. Well, I'm not so sure about that. I'd like to see some facts on that, because to me, those last 5 minutes I think are more important. And so, you know, be wary of statements like that coaches and others make. But there's a few things I'd like to talk to you about in this thing. Situations change. You must, I think you will find that a lot of times, especially in the end of the game situations, that you either score or don't score in breakdowns more than you do on the plays, both defensively and offensively. You may be ready for a certain play, the play breaks down, they go on their own, and now you don't have any play. And I think being able to improvise is a very big factor at the end of the game, and in big situations that you need baskets, because a lot of times it is in the breakdown or in the transition that players going on their own make the things happen. So you can you know, prepare for game situations by having an offense and a defense that know how to handle situations when they break down. And even though you can't, I don't think you can say, you know, practice and think through situations that could occur, and that isn't a bad exercise, and I've done it myself, but chances are you're never going to see the situations that you you put on the board and said how you would handle them. Even if it might be just one man, you go out there and you think you got your lineup, you know their lineup, and then they substitute one guy, and now you're back to square one. But I think there's principles that you can develop. And I'm just going to give you a few examples. You should sit down with a notebook and a pencil or pen, and you should write down the principles that you want to follow, and I'll just give you some examples. Should you foul if you're down 3 or 4 points with a minute to go to get the ball back? I will tell you this, I don't think you'll ever win fouling. It's just, they just can go up and make back. 1 point is all they have to make. You're down, now you catch up, now you foul again, and they make it. It's just not I've done all kinds of studies on that. You just don't win fouling. But you know, I will tell you this: you probably will do it anyway because everybody expects you to do it. And if you don't do it and you lose, you know, you're going to have a lot of criticism. So I understand that, but from my standpoint, you know, my principle is let's try to find a way to trap or do something to get the ball without fouling, because if you give them 2 free throws, you know, there's a chance they might miss both, but you still got to score too. And then fouling, here's a situation that you can have a principle, what you're going to do. You're up by 2 points. They have 4 or 5 seconds on the clock. Call a timeout. Do you foul and make them shoot 2 free throws, which will probably, you know, should clinch the game? Or do you let them run it out and do the best you can on contesting the 3-point shot? They need 3 points. They're going to be playing around that circle out there. That's something you can put in your mind and say, this is what I'm going to do. There's 2 schools of thought on it. So whatever you do is your way, and that's all you need to worry about. Switching, for example, in end of the game, so that no one can penetrate, or hopefully no one can penetrate, and yet you can get people out on the 3-point shot. I think that has some merit, but this is something you can say to yourself. And if you do it, then you may want to practice it. I think there's one principle that a lot of us follow. In the end of the game, get the ball to your best players. Now, this is not always the best course, but because chances are the defense is ready for those guys. You better hope your best player can shoot free throws. And if you can't, then you might want a secondary thought. But overall, you got to put the ball in the hands of the guys that have the best chance of scoring. And those are usually your best players. But have faith, though. Have faith in what you do. Have faith in your own plays and your own defense. Don't be quick to leave that just because it's a tight game. This is what your players will do best under most circumstances, under almost all circumstances. So have faith in that. Don't change at the last minute and do something that they don't know. Because I can tell you, I've done the numbers on that. It don't work. Your chances are less than if you ran something that you know well. There's many of those principles that you could put down and be prepared for a little bit before the game, like lineups at certain times, that sort of thing. But or a simple thing like you got a player that you want to substitute early in the game, you're going to tell, I'm going to substitute them at 6 minutes or 8 minutes. A lot of people do that, especially with older players in the NBA, to make sure that they're rested and that they're not wearing out. So there's a litany of those things. I can't go through all of those with you because we'd be here all day. But that's what a coach does. That's what you're supposed to do, is sit down with it and work it out. And the next game, it may be a situation you've never seen before. Well, reflect on that after the game and say, next time, this is what I'm going to do. Chances are, though, you might change. I have done that many times, and then something just tells me at the last minute that even though the percentages should go this way, my heart tells me go another way, and I always follow my heart. I always follow those instinctive things that come up. There's another thing that I think you should do to prepare for situations. I think you need to have some go-to plays. Go-to plays are basically plays you can run anytime during the game. When you need a basket, they're plays that you have designed specifically, probably for specific players, not necessarily so, but that you have faith in, that you go to when you need a basket. It is not necessarily the same play or plays you would go to with 5 seconds on the clock or something like that. And then there is need plays, when you definitely need a 2-point basket or a 3-point basket. Now what I did on that, and I was very happy with this preparation, I divided the both need plays into 3 groups: 0 to 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. And I had a need to play for each one of those situations. And I had a need 3 points play for each one of those situations. And we practiced them. So that if you needed 2 points, a timeout, you had 5 seconds, you know pretty well what you're going to do. Now it might mean that you have a different passer inbounds, or it might mean you have a different guy who gets the ball from out of bounds than what you practice. But you should let every player have a chance to be in that situation in practice, so that he can do something that he's comfortable with in a game. We practiced those very religiously every week, and ran them in games. And some failed, but we had some that succeeded very well. We won games with them. It was worth the time and effort in practice to win 2 or 3 big games throughout a year. Well, the other thing, the last 2 things I would leave you with in all of your thinking that I've been talking about. And I just want to tell you that it's very difficult to prepare for everything. You have to have, as a coach, you have to be willing to face the unknown and make up your mind at that time. It's part of what we do. The players should be disciplined to you enough that whatever you decide, they're going to do it to the best of their ability, especially if you have them do something they know. And I repeat that many times. I cannot understand why you would put in something new in that high-pressure situation, and that the players themselves are under a lot of pressure And then they're under the pressure of trying to run something they've never seen before. I know it's done, and it's done a lot. I think it's done an awful lot in the NBA. It's a little different with experienced players. I understand that, but still, they're human. And I've tracked those plays too. And I've tracked a lot of those plays they make up in timeouts. Not very good. They're usually at the lowest end of the scheme. So be careful about that, and try to remember your players have got to execute. Please keep things simple. Those 6 plays I told you about, 3 plays in 3 situations and when you need to, 3 plays in 3 situations when you need 3. We're all 6 different plays, but they're very simple plays. The players did not need much time to learn the plays. They needed to learn the execution. But we kept everything very simple. And you should do that for your players. Listen, they got a lot on their mind. There's a lot going through their head when they're in these situations. They may act like they're very confident, but down deep, they're worried. They don't want to lose the game, both offensively and defensively. That's true. So keep it simple. Let's give them the best chance possible. And as I said before, don't give them anything new. You know, very hard for players. You know, you got to take yourself out of this thing. I know you want to drop a play and win a game, and that makes you the hero, you think. Be content to let your players be the heroes. You just do what a coach should do that is best for the players, not to make yourself look good, or not to get your moment of glory. Those will all come. You just need to go out every night and do the right thing by your team and your organization, and the rest will follow. Well, I don't think I gave you a lot of help in this, but I don't think anybody can give you a lot of help. So, because we just don't know all the situations that you will be in. So, you know, you have to have faith in what you're doing, and in yourself, and in your players, and you'll come up with the right answer at the right time. Well, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.